Today, we're diving into a super important topic, the 5 types of people who are magnets for narcissists. If you're new here, welcome and thank you for joining. If you've been with us since the early days, thank you so much. We're building a strong community together to combat this toxicity. Please like, subscribe, and hit the bell to catch our 2 new videos every week. Now let's get straight to it. Who's most likely to get caught in a narcissist's orbit? I'll list the 5 types. Note that you might fit into multiple categories at once, which doubles your risk. Don't worry, we'll break each one down so you can recognize and protect yourself. Type 1. The overly empathetic. You know these people, the ones who care deeply about others. They're the type to grab an extra coffee just in case you show up at the office, give you the closer parking spot, or call to check in because they sense you're struggling. They're amazing, right? I wish the world was full of them. We should surround ourselves with people like this. But here's the issue. If you're overly empathetic and haven't learned to spot a narcissist's red flags, you're a perfect magnet. Why? Because you mirror their emotions. You say things like, "Wow, your story is so interesting, tell me more." Or, "You've worked so hard, you deserve recognition." You constantly validate them, feeding their ego like a vaccine for their insecurities. Narcissists secretly despise empathy. They never give it to others. But when they meet you, they think, "Jackpot! This person will bend over backwards to understand and validate me." They'll keep you close. Meanwhile, because you're so empathetic, you keep trying to listen harder, thinking, "Maybe I haven't understood them enough, let me try more." You burn out before you realize it. I've heard countless people say, "That's me, I'm too empathetic, and that's how I got pulled into this mess." These people often exhaust themselves before walking away because they always think they need to give one more chance. Type 2. The rescuers. Yep, you know who you are, don't hide. You meet someone and think, "They need help, I'll make them a better version of themselves." It's like something out of My Fair Lady or Clueless, where the main character transforms someone from ordinary to extraordinary. You do this with good intentions, often paired with high empathy. You hear their sad story, neglectful parents, growing up in a rough neighborhood, being bullied, and you think, "I'll save them." But oh boy, this leads to big trouble. You might let them move in too soon, lend them money because they just need a little help to get back on their feet, or call friends to hook them up with a job. Then they mess up, leaving you embarrassed. Narcissists are experts at playing the victim. "Everyone hates me, my life is so hard." They tell these stories right from the first date, a manipulation tactic. You, with your rescuer instincts, dive in, thinking you're doing good. The result? They exploit you, and you're stuck in an endless cycle of trying to save them. Be cautious, early sob stories are often bait to hook you. Type 3. The overly optimistic. "Hey, you sunshine people, you're the ones who always see the bright side. Today's going to be amazing," or "Everyone has good in them." This attitude is great for your mental health, but it also makes you a magnet for narcissists. Why? Because you struggle to believe someone could be unempathetic, arrogant, or unchangeable. You think, "Everyone has a good side, right? I just need to find it." You take a tiny grain of goodness and blow it out of proportion. Narcissists exploit this. They do something awful, but you think, "They must have a reason. I'll focus on their good side." They realize they can get away with anything because you see the world through rose-colored glasses. You praise them. "You're amazing. What you did was extraordinary." That's like catnip for their ego. They keep you around for the constant flattery. But after going through this, you might lose your innocence, facing the dark side of humanity for the first time. And that hurts. You need to balance optimism with realism. Type 4. The overly forgiving. Yes, it sounds strange, but it's true. These are the people who always give a second chance, and a third, fourth, and so on. You're wonderful for your compassion, but with narcissists, it's dangerous. A healthy person receives forgiveness and thinks, "I'm so lucky, I need to change so I don't hurt them again." A narcissist? They think, "Great, forgiveness means permission. I can do it again." They see your forgiveness as a free pass to keep abusing you. Many forgive for spiritual reasons. In Christianity, for example, forgiveness is a core virtue. You're taught to forgive, so when you meet a narcissist, you think, I have to forgive. They'll learn. But 15 years later, you're still forgiving, and they haven't changed. I've heard so many stories. I saw the signs early on, but thought forgiving was the right thing. The result? You're exhausted and feel used. Forgiveness is sacred, but it must be used wisely. With narcissists, forgive yourself first and stop with them. Type 5. Those with narcissistic parents. This is the most painful setup. You grew up with parents who lacked empathy and were demanding, making you feel like you were never good enough. As a teen, you might not have known what to call it, but you thought this is just how relationships work. You had to prove yourself, constantly validating them. It became normal, like room temperature. You adapted to it. You learned to navigate their rules, people please, or avoid conflict to survive. As an adult, you attract narcissists because it feels familiar. You don't immediately recognize toxic signs. Instead, you think, I know how to handle this. You fall back on childhood coping mechanisms. The result? You end up in toxic relationships, thinking they're normal. The legacy of narcissistic parents can harm you long-term, making you vulnerable to the dangerous pull of narcissists. See the pattern? These types often overlap. You might be empathetic and a rescuer, skyrocketing your risk. These are wonderful qualities: empathy, rescuing, optimism, forgiveness, and overcoming a tough childhood. But narcissists exploit them. You don't seek them out, they seek you because of these traits. Recognize them to protect yourself. Rescue those who deserve it, forgive those who change, stay optimistic but realistic, empathize with boundaries, and heal your childhood wounds.